Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the SMCast. Now, I just wanted to let you guys know real quick. Originally, this was going to be a bi-weekly podcast, but then I decided, after long and hard thinking, I decided to make it weekly. So, you guys are going to be able to hear my beautiful voice weekly. And also, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and watch it on Anchor, or listen to it on Anchor, or if you're listening to this on Anchor, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music, all of that, then make sure you go and check out the YouTube side, so that, we can potentially make more stuff going on. Who knows? But, yeah, so this is now, on YouTube and on other listening, things. Shout out to Alan Spicer. He was able to basically tell me what I needed to do to get it on those other things. So, big shout out to you, Alan. He also has a podcast, the Start Creating Podcast, so I really suggest you go and check that out. I've seen every episode, and it's very good. Okay, let's jump in to today's episode of the SMCast. So, today's episode, we're just going to be talking about school. And the reason I'm talking about this is because around this time, people are going back to school, people are entering school again. People are starting school for the first time. On the day of recording this, August 8th, Thursday, I've been in school for about 2 days so far. You guys are hearing this about a week later, but it's very, very nice to be back. I am a junior in high school, and my sisters are freshmen in high school. We go to the same school. I'm not going to say the school name, but it's pretty nice to be able to be there with my siblings, it's more of a time saver than anything, because instead of having to, go from my school to their school to pick them up, to take them home, now I just get to go home straight away from there, which means I get more time to work on other things, as opposed to spending an hour, out and about doing other unnecessary things. Now, I'm gonna be real with you guys for a second. I am not really a fan of school. I'm completely serious when I say that school is boring, really. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about my school experiences. We're going to talk about, just other stuff. But I wanted to give you guys a quick health update real quick. Just a little SM22 update. I am kind of in a not very good position today. I don't know why, but ever since like 2:30 today, it's around like 10 p.m. when I'm recording this, but at around 2:30, my arm, just out of nowhere, like my bicep, just like exploded with pain, and it's been killing me all day, and I think it's one of two things. I think I either pulled a muscle right there, or a spider bit me, because there was a spider web, that I just knocked down, and I didn't see a spider on it, but I don't know if there was a spider on it that for some reason I just didn't see, and it got me somehow. I'm not really sure, but who knows? I'm going to talk about it in streams and stuff. So, by the time you guys are actually seeing this, it'll have been old news. I'll have had it all figured out. So, hopefully you guys have kept up with me on other stuff so you guys can really see it. And, that's about it. But also, like, health thing. Allergies have been acting up a lot, like really a lot, and I don't know why. I've been wearing sunglasses to school for like the last 2 years now, but this year I feel like I'm gonna be wearing them a lot more, because my eyes are just always red and puffy, and it looks weird. So that's why I wear sunglasses to school. A little tidbit, if I ever stream from school or anything, or record a video at school, 9 out of 10 odds are that I'll be wearing sunglasses. And, honestly, like, during videos and streams and stuff, I'm wearing sunglasses as well, probably. Who knows? Unless I've been inside all day. If I've been inside all day, I'm not going to, but if I've been outside, out and about, then the pollen gets into my eyes, and, it's a better idea to wear sunglasses than to not. Anyway, school. So, I go to school, obviously. I'm still in high school. I'm a junior in high school, and it's pretty cool to be able to, go to school. Get it? Going to school. It's cool. But actually, it's okay. I mean, school has always been just I'm gonna go to school. and I'm gonna get a degree in the future, but what I want to do with my life doesn't necessarily revolve around a degree. Like, for example, I've said before that I want to be a director, producer. I want to be involved in the film industry. I want to be able to make film, and that's still my plan. My backup plan is lawyer, and also let me just give you guys a little bit of advice. If you are wanting to go into a field, like career field, that isn't entirely stable or has a very low percentage rate of people who actually get big in it, then always have a backup plan and expect to fall on that backup plan at least once. But don't give up on your dream. Of course, I'm not saying give up on your dream, but be realistic about your backup plan, because more likely than not, that might end up being your go-to plan. It's what people would call your "I'll settle for this job," and it's just something that's good to have. Mine is a lawyer, and I know some other people who want to be actors and stuff, and their backup plan is like doctor, lawyer, teacher, stuff like that. So, nothing, you don't have to make it like something super extravagant, but if you're gonna go to college and like major in something, minor in your backup plan. It's just a good idea. It's never a bad idea to get an extra degree just in case. So that's my little nugget of information. So if you guys want to follow that, that's great. If you don't want to, it's up to you. It really is. But just think about it in the future. Anyway, school. School is it's pretty nice. I went from preschool to 11th grade, junior, and, I didn't have too many problems. There's been some weird kids, of course, but though I tend not to associate with the weird and freaky bunch, By the weird and freaky bunch, I mean, like, the kids who are, like, crazy, who aren't really good kids. Have you guys ever heard the term delinquent? I'm gonna be real. There are a lot of delinquent children in school now, and I'm not trying to be mean. If you feel that you are a delinquent kid or not, it's not up to me. As long as you treat me with respect, I will continue to treat you with respect, with the same amount of respect. And the reason I say delinquent in that context is because it's the kids who don't want to do something with their lives, and it's not always their fault. Most of the time it's their own situation. Everyone's situation is different. I will never blame anyone for a situation that they cannot control, and how they react to it is different from how I would react to it, or how Mysterious32 will react to it, or how Gen2 Gamer will react to it, or how Sparks will react to it. Everyone's story is different, and what you do, as long as it's not illegal, it's not gonna make me judge you, as long as you keep that away from me. So just, if you guys ever see me out in the street or something, and you are underage, and you want to say like, hey, come and do some drugs, I'm gonna judge you right there. But if you're overage, and you're doing drugs, I mean, I'm not gonna support it, but I'm not gonna tell you that you can't, because that's not my place. So, I'm not going to join you. I would prefer you keep it away from me, but, I'm not gonna judge you for, well, you know what, that's probably a bad example, because I probably will, judge, but, I won't hold stuff like that against you. I don't know I don't know where I was going with that. That was kind of complicated, but just think about it as, like, just, if you're doing things that you probably shouldn't be doing, just take a look, think about it, okay? That's probably what I'm just trying to say here. And also, there's just, there's a lot going on in school. Like, I am in AP Lang, AP US History, Honors Anatomy, I'm trying to remember, Honors Algebra 2, I'm in, the hell are my other two classes? I actually don't know. Spanish 3, and I'm forgetting one, but I don't remember. Avid. I'm an Avid for juniors, so that's basically what my schedule's looking like. I don't know why I couldn't remember those. It's been 2 days, but I already have the class schedule memorized, and it's kind of hard to. It's weird. This is the first year where by the second day I had everything memorized. I had the I had the location of the classes, where the classes were, what the classes were, who the teachers were, and who was in that class by day 2. And normally, I don't have all that memorized by day 2. Normally, by day 2, I am still looking down at the schedule, being like, okay, where am I going when? And I was actually very proud of myself, especially considering that my school starts at 7:25 in the morning. Now, I'm going to give you guys just something real quick. If you are still in high school, you might want to do something about it. If you are a parent of someone who is in high school, or in any school for that matter, then you might want to do something about it. If you don't got kids and you're not in high school, then you probably don't care. But schools should be starting at around 9:30, 10 on all days. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Because students, it's been scientifically proven that students work better when they get a good night's sleep. Now, you're not going to be able to expect a kid who's a teenager to be going to bed at 9, 10 p.m. Okay, that's not possible. I go to bed around maybe like 10:30, 11. You know, I try my best to be up in my room, like calming down by 10 p.m. Like, you know, winding down from the day, you know, brushing my teeth, getting my bed sheets ready, plugging my phone into charge. You know, I try my best to keep that consistent habit. If I'm not asleep by 11 p.m., then I consider that I probably did something wrong. And the main reason why I try to keep a consistent bed schedule is because I know how hard it is to wake up in the morning. I normally wake up around like maybe 5 to 5:30 a.m. every morning. So if I'm going to bed by 10, 11 p.m., that's giving me about 6 to 7 hours of sleep. Now, I consider that a lot. There are a lot of people at my school who I've talked to who get severely less sleep. 2, 3 hours. Sometimes they don't sleep at all. Sometimes they're getting maybe like 1 hour. If they're lucky, it's 4. And that's terrible. It's really bad. For adults, that's not healthy. For kids, it's especially bad. It's terrible. So the schools need to be more on top of it, in the sense of having the school schedule revolve around when the students are expected to go to bed, which would be around midnight, 1 o'clock. If you are not asleep by 1 o'clock, then that's probably going to be on you. Honestly, I feel like if you're not asleep by midnight, then you're probably kind of like forcing yourself to stay up at that point. I don't know. Like, I try my best not to stay up past midnight. If I do, I've pulled a couple all-nighters, but, you know, it's just, they're few and far between. In my entire high school career, I've done that maybe like 2 or 3 times. You know, freshman year, I did that once. Sophomore year, I did a couple times, but nothing too crazy. It wasn't like a weekly occurrence. And, the reason that school starts so early is to revolve around the parent work schedule. Because schools I don't know about other states, other countries, but in the state of California, schools cannot afford to bus everybody. They cannot afford to pay enough bus drivers to buy enough buses to take everybody to and from school. Because if school started at, let's say, 10 a.m., as I said, if school started at 10 a.m., then parents wouldn't be able to drop off. They would have to get bused. And then the kids wouldn't get out until like 5 p.m. Now, people are getting out of work around 5, 6. But if most people, I would say most jobs, let out at 6. So if kids are getting out of school in between 4:30 and 5, they're going to have to wait for a while. And normally that's not too big of a deal. But as it is getting late to that point, it becomes a problem when you're having to deal with all these teachers who are still here at 6 p.m. They got their families that they got to go back to. And the main reason why they chose teaching is because teaching gets out around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock if you're unlucky. And bam, you can go pick up your kids. But if it's getting out at 6, it's not going to be that great. And it doesn't work with the parents' work schedule. That's why school starts so early. That's why you won't find school starting any time before 8 a.m. If you're lucky, if you're like the most lucky person in the world, or if you're at a private school, your school will start like 8:30. But in my experience, I have never been to a school that started later than 8. Only one school I've ever been to had a schedule that started in the 8s, and it was at 8 a.m. Literally 8 a.m. There was no difference between 7:59 and 8 a.m. The only difference was instead of a 7 there, it's an 8. And that's the one school. That was middle school. But everything else has been in the 7s. And I remember, like, it was a problem even back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean, like, back, like, 20, 30 years ago. Because even though kids could walk to school, it was... And they didn't really need to work around parent work schedules. Because, you know, back in, like, the 80s, 90s, world was a lot different. World was a lot more safe. So 6-year-olds could walk to school, no problem, no biggie, who cares? And even then, school started early to work around the parent work schedules because parents would want them to be there when their child leaves. They would want they would want the kid to be there by the time the parent comes home, and it's just based on parent work schedules. And unfortunately, like, that works for adults. Like, adults can get up at 5 in the morning and say, hey, you know, I'm going to get up at 5 in the morning because I'm going to make that money because I need to feed my family. They have a direct need. Now, students, especially teenagers, okay, teenagers specifically, maybe not little kids because they do what they're told, but teenagers specifically, they think of school as, wow, I'm going to a place that is publicly funded where they can A, tell me what to do, B, boss me around, and C, force me to do extra work that is outside of that place, which adults don't even have to do for the most part, unless you're like in business. But if you're not, then once work ends, you're done. And students think of that as a big waste of time. And honestly, in the spot of homework, I kind of agree. Like, homework for the most part is a waste of time. I will say that. The only reason why I do it is because it keeps up grades, and I would be a lot more scared of losing a good grade than being strong enough to just not do the homework for it as a stand. So, even though I do agree that homework is a waste of time, I just think of it as a, well, too bad, I gotta do it anyways. And no one's gonna baby me in that regard. So it's at that point it gets down to like who the student is, and unfortunately most students think in the way that I just described, think in the way of school is a big waste of time. And although I don't think that school is a waste of time because I know what it could bring in the future. More schooling means more education, which means higher chances of making more in a high quality job. But I see where these students are coming from because they're not getting anything now. Yes, they'll get something in 5-6 years, but teenagers especially, they're not looking 5-6 years in the future. They're looking today, tomorrow. What am I going to do in this moment that will benefit me in this moment? That's why kids don't like school. That's why kids don't pay attention in class, because they think I'm just here for free babysitting. That's it. I'm just here so that my parents don't have to deal with me, so that I don't have to be home by myself. And unfortunately, that's the truth. And I'm gonna be real for a second. That's also why there's so many like teenage pregnancies and stuff like that, because students aren't thinking about, oh, what could happen in the future. If I do this thing, you know, I'm not gonna say what the thing is. I'm not gonna describe it, of course, because, you know, we might have kids listening, but teenagers think, if I do this thing, it will make me feel better now, but I'm not worried about what could happen. I'm not worried about what the potential next 9 months could bring this other person, and what the next 18 years could bring me. No one's thinking that. And they're not really, they are wrong for not thinking that, but as kids, you're not prepared to think like that. You are prepared to think like that during college years, of course, And during junior, senior years, you're taught to think like that. But at that point, it's already too late. You're not really thinking about anything. You're just thinking about the right now, right here, right this moment. Ooh, this will make me feel good right now, so let's do this right now. And then, bam, something could happen that changes your life. And unfortunately, there are some people who bail on that. But I'll be honest, I'm one of the people who, when it comes to like the whole abortion stuff, I'm very anti that. I might explain that in a future podcast. I don't know. Please let me know if you guys would want me to talk about that in the future. I know it's a very controversial topic, but anyway, so just kids aren't thinking about stuff like that. They're not thinking about the future. They're thinking about now. And unfortunately, school is all about the future, not now. When it comes to school, it's not now. It's, hey, come here so that you can sit here in a class for 7 hours a day for 180 something days a year, so that 5 years from now, after 1,000 days of doing this, then you can get some reward out of it. You can get some good money. But right now, you're not getting a single paycheck. Oh, and by the way, while your parents get out at 6 p.m. out of work, yeah, they do start maybe like an hour before you do, but their work is done right as they get out of work. Your work is never done, child. You get to be there, sitting at your desk, working until midnight on the assignments that I've given you. Oh, essay, future. That totally contradicts what children are thinking nowadays. I should know, because even though I tend to think I'm not really a child, I still am. I still am a kid. I'll be honest. I'm only 16. I'm not old or anything, but I do know where everyone's coming from when the kids think this way. And I know where the adults are coming from when they're like, damn, why are these kids thinking this way? Why are these kids doing these things when they're not thinking? And I get both sides of it, because, yeah, some of this stuff is very annoying and very tedious. Like raise your hand right now if you think homework is a big waste of time. And then if you were to go to anybody and explain why you think your homework is a waste of time, to be honest, 9 out of 10 people will agree with you. I've talked to teachers about this. They agree. They think, yeah, homework is a big waste of time, but I am required by the school, by the district, by frickin' College Board. I hate College Board, by the way. I'm required by College Board to give you homework. And unfortunately, College Board, at least in the United States, I think. I don't know. It might just be the state of California. I don't know. But College Board literally took over the schools. Standardization in schools is now done by College Board. The SAT, the AP tests, the ACT, all of that stuff. That is all done by College Board. There is there's no one standing in College Board's way. If College Board wanted to make it so that every child who doesn't get an A or above on any given test fails it, they can. If they really wanted to, they can. And I think that's really dumb. I think it honestly should be by a district basis. And it used to be. And even now, like, there still kinda is, but College Board has just come to a point where they've taken it over. If you're in an AP class, if you're in any AP class in high school within the last five years or so, you have heard the term College Board more times than you can count. You have seen College Board all over the place. College Board. College Board's everywhere. And unfortunately, it's just, that's the truth, and it's not really going to change. And College Board, they don't care about you. They don't care about the teacher. They don't care about the student. They care about the money that they're getting by putting their name out there. They think, ooh, these wealthy parents will say, thank you so much for supporting my child's education. And then these parents would pay College Board, because parents already do pay College Board. Taxes are going to College Board nowadays. And unfortunately, that's the truth. And it really is. And that does kind of suck. But there's nothing we can really do to change that. I hope that in the future there's something we can do to change that. Make it more standardized on a school by school, even on a school by school basis, instead of standardized for the whole country. Because I'll be honest, New York and their schooling is a lot better than California and their schooling. Canada's schooling is a lot better than U.S. schooling. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be honest. This might offend some people, but that's the truth. Like, you know, the U.S. is 25th in math for a reason, and that's just because it's so skewed when it comes to judging intelligence, and it's not right, but it still works. Like, you know, people still fall for it all the time. And I've never... sorry I yawned. But I've never liked College Board, but I've come to the point where I accept that they're there. And they're going to be there for good. I did kind of get off track throughout the last, 20 minutes. I talked for a little bit about how I'm a junior now, I talked about my classes for a little bit, but then I did get off on a tangent. But I hope you guys really did understand what I was talking about, because what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to say that if you've made some bad decisions that ruined your life, because that's not true. That's not true at all. If you didn't do well in school, your life isn't over. Because I'm going to be honest, school isn't for everybody. Okay, high school is for everybody. You are required to do high school. If you don't get a high school diploma, then there's some other problems. Like, you do need a high school diploma or something equivalent to that, like a GED or something. That is required. Like, no matter what. If you want to get, any job nowadays, you need that. Now, college isn't for everybody. It is for most people. That's why it's the most recommended. But it's not for everybody. And unfortunately, schools nowadays are all about prepping you for college. And yeah, college-going kids are the vast majority, but it's not a perfect split. There are a lot of people whose main plan isn't even to go to college. Yes, there are people who want to go to college. There are people who love college. There are people who, to them, learning is the best thing they could possibly do. But that's not the point. Their point that they're trying to make is that college isn't for everybody, and that's just something that needs to be accepted. But schools nowadays aren't really accepting that. They're kind of saying, it's either college or nothing. And unfortunately, that's not the truth. I'm going to be honest. That is not the truth. If you don't want to go to college, if you have a good reason for not going to college, I want to go into this field specifically, you don't need to go to college for this field. Or I'm going to become an entrepreneur and start that off from the get-go instead of going to college. As long as it is a sensible reason, then there should be no problem in between the end of high school and the beginning of your career. If you don't want to put college in the middle for any good reason, then there shouldn't be any fuss about it. But unfortunately, there is. There's always fusses about it, and everyone just kind of makes it sound as if college is the best thing. For example, if you were to go anywhere and ask someone what kind of level of education they have, okay, this person could be the richest man in the world, okay, but if you see someone who has a PhD, who has 7 PhDs, okay, but they're barely scraping by, but you don't know this, they're barely scraping by, right? And then you see someone who's the richest man in the world, who just has his high school diploma. You don't know their financial situations. When you look at both of them, instantly from the get-go, you are going to respect the man with 7 PhDs more, just because he's told you that he has 7 PhDs, as opposed to the guy who said, I just have a high school diploma. You're just going to respect the PhDs more. And unfortunately, that's something that's true. And yeah, I mean, they did kind of earn it for doing all of that work, but they're barely scraping by, whereas the person with just the high school diploma is the richest man in the world. And just because you didn't know that, you looked at them, you assessed what they had told you, which was just their level of education, and you made a judgment based on that. I've done that a couple times, where I said that, or I didn't say, but I treated the person who was more educated with more respect, even though the person who was less educated was in a better position both financially, in relationships, and just socially in general. Like, they had better skills. They were better at talking to people. They were better at maintaining their marriage. They were better at making money. And in some cases, they were even smarter. They were very like, some of the smartest people I know don't even have a high school diploma. And that's mostly because they're older. And back in the day, you didn't really need a high school diploma for anything. Nowadays, I highly recommend finishing high school. If you don't, then it's up to you. But finishing high school is less of a, hey, you should do this, and more of a, this is probably a illegal to not finish kind of thing. So, finish high school, kids, at least. I'll tell you that. And, if you don't want to go to a 4-year university at first because you're saying, oh, it's too expensive, I totally get that. But loans are there for a reason. Financial aid is there for a reason. Community college is there for a reason. I know in the state of California, you can get the 2 years of community college for absolutely free. There is no cost to those incomes, and that's actually really great because you're able to use those to your advantage. And there are ups and downs to school, but this was just my take on school. Let me know what you guys think about school. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave it in the comments. If you're watching this on anything else, I don't know how you would leave comments. I actually don't know how to leave a comment on any of those, but who knows? Just think about it. If you know what, go over to the YouTube version. Tell me what you thought. And this has been great. I really do like recording these. The SMCast is doing very well. I really like it. And yeah, that's about it from me for this week. I can expect to see you guys next week on Saturday. Of course, it's always on Saturday. I will see you guys in the next episode of the SMCast. This has been me, your host, SM22, talking about school. So just let me know what you guys think about what I talked about. And I will see you guys in the next episode of the SMCast. Make sure you stay schvinky. I'll see you guys next time. Alright. Bye.